Peace, family, peace, peace, peace. Okay, so as I'm sitting in a park, I wanted to do this video real quick. This video, it was inspired by Bobby HEMMIT, okay? And before I get into all of that, I hope you guys are having a phenomenal day. If not, do understand and get your day is going to get better once your perception gets better. And so I'm always looking to grow, right? And I tell you guys that all the time, whether it's me listening to podcasts, whether it's me reading or whatever it is like that, because when you start educating yourself, right, oftentimes we think is we not in school any longer, so you can't learn or whatever it is like that. That is so far from the truth. Okay. I remember one time I was listening to KRS-One, and one of the things he had talked about was when he was in the 8th grade, it was a test that he was that the school had gave him, and he kept on taking the test and he kept on failing, and he just stopped going, right? He stopped going to elementary school, the 8th grade. He dropped out. And he said he started going to the Bronx Library, educating himself, right? Oftentimes we think that, other people are supposed to, educate us. Another story, I was listening to Dr. Miles Monroe, and he talked about, when he first went to college, how, he spent so many thousands, and how he thought that the professor was supposed to teach him. And the professor, he said, for the first day of school, the professor basically told them to read, books or whatever it was like that. And he was like, and the professor said, he'll see them next week or whatever. And Dr. Miles Monroe said he was, saying like, teacher, get back here, because he done invested so much money into believing that this guy, this teacher, was supposed to, tell him whatever it was for him to learn, right? Okay, so let's get into it. Your ego is keeping you being superficial. Okay, so a lot of you guys, know how I started doing these videos. If you've been watching my videos for a minute, you know how I came up with doing the videos and things of that nature. If you don't know, I'm gonna just give you a backstory. I was so sick and tired of being sick and tired. That basically sums it up. I wanted something new, I wanted something different. And ever since then, I always pretty much been a person that is questioning stuff, right? Questioning things. Just don't go along with things because, majority of the people are going along with it, but I start questioning stuff. And from me questioning my reality, it was like one thing led to another. We often hear this saying, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear, and all these different things. So I was listening to Bobby HEMMIT. Okay, I don't know if some of you guys listen to Bobby HEMMIT, but I love listening to Bobby HEMMIT, one, because he is raw as it gets. Okay, he cursed a lot, and it is when I listen to him, it just puts me in that state of mind that he's gonna just tell it the way it is. Okay, and sort of put me in the mind of my father, because my father was the type that he'd say whatever it is, whatever it came out of his mouth, he didn't care. He just say whatever. Okay, cursing, whatever. And so I was listening to Bobby HEMMIT today, and one of the things Bobby HEMMIT talked about was about the ego, right? And basically how to start getting rid of the ego. And one of the things that he said was like so fascinating. He said, you guys put these celebrities and these sports, these athletes on basically pedestals, and they have no other choice. The athletes have no other choice but to live in their ego, because it's like you holding them up on such a high pedestal. And which I was like, sometimes we think that people, right, although, we are all having a human experience, but we oftentimes think that people, you know, they shouldn't do some of the things that they do. Like, you know, some things come out in the public, right, that, you know, maybe this person is telling, you know, kids to kiss his tongue or whatever it is like that. And, you know, oftentimes we like, well, how could this person have done this? You know, I had so much high regards for this person and all these different things, but you keep on forgetting that people are people. People are having a human experience. And so the moment you start putting people on pedestals and stuff like that, you can see like why they do some of the things that they do. But getting back to Bobby Hemmett, so one of the things he said was, if you are the type that, he said, you know, people, they say because they don't have no clothes on or certain types of clothes, they can't go, you know, outside, or if they got stains on their clothes, you know, they so subconscious of what other people think of them. And he also went on and said that when Bobby Hemmett came out of college, he said he was looking for a job, right? He said his lights been cut off, you know, he didn't even have money to pay rent. And he said, you know, he went to a restaurant to look for a job, and he said he didn't want to serve tables. And the reason being he didn't want to serve tables was because he was thinking, what if people from his school, right, they see him serving tables? And he was like, that is so sick, you know. He said when his lights got cut off and they had called him to do an interview on the radio, he said the time when his lights got cut off, he could have never went on a radio station to do an interview because he was so caught up on, you know, how people gonna think of him, how they gonna see him, and all these different things. He said, but him starting to be real, right? Him being real, and not acting, operating from a persona, right? Whereas though people, you know, well, I want to impress people and things of that nature. You will always continue to be miserable if your whole objective is, well, I want to impress these people. I want these people to like me. First of all, half of the time, people not even really thinking of you, okay? And if they are thinking of you, then you need to start asking yourself, or if they have so much to say, you need to start asking yourself, or telling yourself that if they were working on themselves as much as they focus on me, their lives would be so different. Okay, there's some of the things that you need to start telling yourself. I remember when I was a part of Toastmasters, and I remember one of the questions, just like as if it was yesterday. The lady who was over Toastmasters, one of the questions she asked me was, if we know that we could never reach perfection, right? That we could never be perfect, why do we try so hard to be perfect? And most of the time is because of the belief system, right? Is because of what we grew up believing. Is because of, you know, what somebody else came along and said that, you know, we should behave or act like this or whatever it is. And we take that and we run with it and we act as if, you know, what they said is the tell all be all, okay? And don't examine it, don't question it. Don't look, you know, at that person's lives and say, you know, well, they seem a little bit, you know, unhappy, and why should I listen to them, right? So my whole concept is, the more you start keeping it real, and, you know, I go back to my journey, right, and how it was so many times where as though I would act better than people, right? And it was an illusion. It was an illusion. It was an illusion of me wanting to seem like, you know, I've reached this, you know, this certain point, right, in my life, and that, you know, like just pretty much looking down on people, feeling like, you know, I'm just better, right? And life will humble you, right? At times you will come to your senses, and it's all like a stage, a front. You start realizing, although I'm dressed like this, although I act like this, you may still be, unsatisfied, unfulfilled, and still feel incomplete and miserable, right? And it's for you to start singing, how could you better your life? But if for any point in time, if you are a person that's just like, well, I gotta act, or I gotta put up this facade, this persona, and I gotta act this certain part or whatever, your life is going to constantly be miserable, because you doing something and it's like it's not the real you, right? You acting like, in the words of Hamlet, one of the things he had said was, Shakespeare, one of the things he said was that life is a stage. And the more you keep on acting, being this person that you're really not, the more you're going to see your life is unhappy. And with that being said, I love you guys. Peace.